Tonight on OswegoNow, the Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary had their first council meeting, and it was open to the public, what you may have missed.
And students and rural voters in Oswego County could be affected by new voter ID rules under the SAVE Act.
Confused by the warm weather and gray clouds and wondering if rain's going to come into the mix? Well, stay tuned and find out now.
Good evening, I'm Alex Brummer.
And I'm Seth Appleby.
A controversial bill that could make it harder for some Americans to vote has passed the U.S. House of Representatives.
Our reporter Ziggy James takes a closer look at what the SAVE Act could mean for small towns, why the next generation of voters should be paying attention.
The SAVE Act, short for the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, backed by the Trump administration, would require all voters in federal elections to prove their citizenship.
There is a concern from a number of people that is not backed by evidence, to be very clear, that large numbers of non-citizens are voting in our elections and that our elections have become fundamentally less secure. There is considerable fear that it has happened. And so the SAVE Act, sort of whether you believe that there is considerable voting for non-citizens or not, is a way of addressing that concern.
In rural areas like Oswego County, many voters face challenges due to limited public transportation and voter registration centers that are only open weekdays.
The Board of Elections is only open from, I believe, 8:30 to 4:30. So if you're somebody who is working, and it's only Monday through Friday. So if you're working a pretty standard 9-to-5 job, your ability to get to the Board of Elections to show your documents in person would essentially require you taking a day off in order to do that.
Vote Oswego, a nonpartisan student group, has worked to boost turnout on SUNY Oswego's campus, but organizers say the SAVE Act could make voting harder for students who move often and don't have easy access to citizenship documents.
Every student would need to have a form of identification that proves their citizenship, which I know personally I don't carry around with me. I'm not from Oswego. I live hours away, and it's just not something I have on me, and a lot of people don't. It was hard enough when helping register students last semester if they even had their ID on them or knew their social security number. So it just adds an additional hurdle to go over.
If this bill becomes law or not, it's sparking new conversations about who gets to vote and who might be left out. Ziggy James, OswegoNow.
The SAVE Act's journey to the Senate marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing discussion about the voting rights in the country.
We'll continue to monitor its progress and implications for voters nationwide.
SUNY Oswego's Campus Recreation is hosting an activity-filled event where Oswego students can compete in games and win prizes.
OswegoNow reporter Zachary Greenspan is live at the event behind Sweatman Gym. How's the action-packed afternoon going, Zach?
Oswego students are representing their hall today in a fun, competitive competition. I am here at the Sweatman Gym for Resident Rumble, an action-packed event with dodgeball, obstacle courses, and tug-of-war. Students have a chance to represent their hall and win amazing prizes, such as an 11-inch iPad, JBL speaker, and a Kodak camera. Also, the most creative dressed student has a chance to win a $50 gift card. I am here with Kate Lewick, who is helping run the event today. What was your inspiration for this event?
So part of Oswego's mission is collaborating with different departments and getting together. So we are together with Community Council, with ResLife, and we work together to create this event to promote student wellness while also community within the dorm halls.
And how do you think this event really helps the community for Oswego?
I think it's great friendly competition with everybody and getting to meet people in your dorm hall that you might not have seen before. And also at the staff level with our staff intermingling, us two, we are creating just a stronger Oswego community overall.
And are you excited to give these competitors their prizes?
I am so excited.
Awesome. All right, that's all I got for today. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Zach. We're nearing the end of April, Seth, and the weather is finally starting to feel like spring.
I know. I'm really hoping that the showers kind of clear for the weekend. Let's take a look with our weather forecast reporter, Nasir Meikle. Nasir?
Thanks, guys. Well, you guys may have been confused and woke up to a damp morning after having a really good day yesterday. It's kind of a hint to the rain showers that we will be getting today and tomorrow. With that rain, we will have some warm temperatures, like now 68 degrees, but with those warm temperatures, that 55%, that humidity number will in fact go up, which will cause more rain and more storms, having a kind of a never-ending cycle that we will get this weekend, but we will be fine, prepared for rainstorms and all set, and everyone will be dressed appropriately. But for more information later on, we'll have it in my full forecast. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Nasir.
The Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary hosted its first virtual advisory meeting on Tuesday, where they discussed a number of concerns from Oswego locals. The sanctuary was founded in 2024 in the efforts to maintain the lake's historical and agricultural integrity, meaning that it is very early on in the sanctuary's development.
With recent cuts to federal funding, it also means that it's quite an unpredictable time for the sanctuary. Representatives from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration addressed these concerns, saying that they're fearful for the future, but still believe in the sanctuary's future.
Have planned for the future as best they can, but at some point it is going to catch up. We're just, again, we're just going to have to do what we can. And also lean on partners, other folks, other federal agencies, state agencies in the region, picking up the slack where possible.
The public for questions and comments, and to give community members the opportunity to get to know those behind the organization.
The board also went deeper into detail about some of the projects coming this summer.
When OswegoNow continues, the Department of Justice is seeking the death penalty for the first time since 2021.
And the National Weather Service has an update on when they will be translating their alerts again.
Welcome back to Oswego Now. I'm your weather reporter, Nasir Meikle. As I said earlier in my quick weather, we're going to have warm temperatures, mostly cloudy skies. That's what is happening now. That humidity will go up, but the wind very, very light, so you won't get blown away. You'll be nice and planted on your feet. Going into our forecast, so our future cast, it will be rainy as we see. 11:30 p.m. tonight, you will have a lot of rain covering most of the county except Oswego. You will still be warm. You'll still have those nice temperatures, but we go into Saturday morning where people are getting up. You might be sleeping in, although it says 9:30. You may be sleeping in, but you will have gray clouds and little spots of rain showers. But I know there's a Sam Robbins concert going on later on in Oswego in a music hall, but the clouds will be there. There won't be any rain, so you won't have to bring out your umbrellas. You won't have to listen to Rihanna. Just bring out your jacket and you'll be warm. But going later on into the day, later on into Sunday, you will get those rain showers back and you will have those gray clouds. Going into our pollination forecast, we will kind of have soft, moderate things going on, moderate spread. Weeds, grass, mold, all will be down. That tree pollen will be up, especially with the rain and how the wind will take things. A lot of those seeds will get carried into other locations, into your nose. So you might want to pick up some Claritin. You'll be sneezing, maybe some Benadryl. Make sure your eyes aren't running. But going into what to wear, it is confusing. We will have rain and we will have clouds, but we will have warmth. So if I fix myself, excuse me, 56 degrees pretty much for the whole weekend. So you might want to bust out a cap, a t-shirt, some sneakers, maybe just a hoodie and some pants. You'll be fine. You don't really want to put yourself in a poor situation where you might get rain. So don't set yourself too much up to be comfortable in warm weather. But we're still going to go into our full New York State forecast. For Fulton, this is all our area here. We will be covered in rain by Friday, or by tonight, excuse me. This will all carry on throughout the week and throughout the day. So make sure you stay prepared, stay set up. Going to the full forecast, we will have warm clouds, warm days, warm rain, warm everything pretty much. You are going to get this average number about 50 to 60s throughout the week, but you will get a differentiating number of the amount of clouds you get in the sky. But be prepared, be warm, be cool, you'll be fine. But I'm going to send it back to the desk. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasir. Speaking of weather, The National Weather Service will once again translate its weather alerts for people who don't speak English. This was paused earlier this month when a contract with an AI translation provider lapsed that led to concerns that non-English speakers may miss severe weather updates during the active spring weather season. The National Weather Service plans to resume its translations again on Monday.
A federal judge sentenced former Congressman George Santos to 87 months in prison on identity thefts and wire charges. He must surrender himself by July 25th. When Santos ran for Congress in 2022, he became famous for lying about his work history, education, and even religion. He was kicked out of Congress in 2023, and in August, Santos pled guilty to campaign finance fraud and other charges.
The auto industry is feeling the impacts of tariffs put in place by the Trump administration.
With more expected soon, auto industry trade groups are warning President Donald Trump these tariffs on foreign auto parts will lead to higher prices for consumers. Lee Wallman reports.
For many attendees of the New York International Auto Show, the tariffs President Trump put on the auto industry are causing whiplash.
These tariffs don't look like they're doing good. They're on one day, they're off the next day. There's a pause for 90 days.
Yeah, I'm just going day by day, just trying to figure out what's going on.
Earlier this month, Trump implemented a 25% tariff on all imported cars. By May 3rd, an additional 25% tariff on foreign auto parts themselves.
Everything's going up and up and up.
Mark Scheinberg, president of the New York International Auto Show, says just over 70% of the auto show attendees are shopping for their next ride. These tariffs could make that more expensive.
We're hearing numbers that it could increase prices of cars from $3,000 to $15,000. That changes the dynamics for people in their decision.
This week, 6 auto industry trade groups sent a letter to members of the Trump administration warning against these tariffs, saying they will scramble the global automotive supply chain. And Ford has warned its dealers that tariffs will likely raise prices starting as early as June.
To think that you can flip a switch and that everything can move to the United States is just impossible to think about. It doesn't happen immediately.
In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
Countries being affected by the tariffs are still figuring out the best ways to deal with them. The final outcome of this conflict has yet to be seen.
The Department of Justice intends to seek the death penalty for Luigi Mangione. Mangione is the man accused of killing the healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year in New York City. The filing claims the crime was intentional killing and was premeditated. Mangione was indicted last week in federal court, but has not yet entered a plea. Luigi Mangione has pled not guilty to the charge of federal executions, are rare, and the last one took place was in 2021.
Coming up, I'll sit down with a local expert to discuss recent immigration policy and how it could affect your wallet.
For this week's Spotlight Now segment, Seth sits down to talk about the recent immigration policies. Seth?
Thank you, Alex. I'm here with Dr. Emily Estrada, a professor here at SUNY Oswego, whose research revolves around immigration studies. Dr. Estrada, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So just getting right into it, my first question, the Trump administration said recently that they will be cutting transportation funding to states that fail to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement efforts, specifically with some states issuing driver's licenses to those who don't have a legal status. My question to you is the administration legally allowed to withhold this funding to the states that don't comply?
So before I answer the question, I have to give the caveat, I am not a lawyer, I am not a legal scholar, I study immigration, but it's kind of a little bit broader. That being said, we know that the Trump administration is saying that any recipient of federal grant money is obligated to uphold federal policies, federal programs, and that is why they're claiming that they would have potentially the right to withhold transportation money, because the counties and the cities, in accepting that money, are obligated to uphold their priorities, their policies. So that's the Trump administration's stance on this issue. That being said, yesterday, Thursday, April 24th, a federal judge issued an order saying that the Trump administration did not have the right to withhold those monies. On a couple of grounds. They said, first, withholding the money would cause irrevocable harm to the people in those cities and in those counties. And then they also said that threatening to withhold the money, or actually withholding the money, would be a federal overreach. And so, given the ruling that was issued yesterday, to answer your question very simply, no.
Okay, thank you for your insight. My next question, the economy is always at the top of people's minds these days. What kinds of effects or changes can we see from the tightening of immigration on the economy, for example?
So President Trump has been in office for about 4 months now. It's a little bit early, I think, to get any real economic metrics to kind of think about the causal impact of his immigration policies and the way it's directly impacting the economy. That being said, there are some early signs of what could potentially be coming down the road. Thinking about the role that immigrants have played in our economy, we can think about first, I would say, highly skilled, educated immigrants who come to the United States. They bring their experience, they bring their innovation, and all of that has a significant positive impact on the American economy. We know as of now, in even just a few short months, that applications for student visas, people wanting to come over and study in America, work visas for that highly skilled segment of immigrants, both of those types of visas, applications are on the decline. We've seen a significant decrease in people applying for those visas. And so given that, and then kind of given what the consequence of that will be, we can expect to see some negative economic impact.
Right.
We should also think about immigrants who come to the United States and fill those lower paying, lower prestige jobs. Many of these immigrants are unauthorized. And we would also anticipate, with a decrease of those immigrants coming into the United States and with the increase of detention and deportation affecting those communities, we would also anticipate some negative economic impact. People working in those positions tend to be very exploitable. They're very vulnerable. Employers just don't have to pay them as much as they have to pay American-born workers. Okay. And those costs then get pushed onto the consumers. Right. Yeah. Right. It allows consumers to pay less for their consumer purchases.
Right. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today. I'm going to throw it back to Alex. Thank you, Dr. Estrada, for joining us again. Back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Seth. Coming up in sports, Jaden Jiggets. Jaden, can we get a quick preview?
Thanks, Alex. Coming up, it's all lacrosse action. Stay tuned to OswegoNow after the break. To kick off tonight's sports news, we have Oswego County Athlete of the Week. We have Oswego County Athlete of the Week, Allison Mainville, for being named Oswego County Athlete of the Week. My mistake. The high school junior is currently playing a key role for her defending Section 3 championship team, scoring a combined 15 goals in their last 3 victories. Mainville is also committed to play for the NCAA Division I University of Connecticut women's lacrosse team next year. Switching gears to SUNYAC lacrosse, Oswego's men's lacrosse will also be in action on the road tomorrow, Saturday, April 26th, to take on SUNY Canton. As the regular season comes to an end, the Lakers are currently ranked second seed in SUNYAC conference. and looks to shrug off their 5-19 loss against Cortland earlier this week and keep the momentum going into the SUNYAC semifinals. Game time will begin at 1 p.m. In other college lacrosse news, the women's team at SUNY Oswego has been playing an outstanding season. OswegoNow sports reporter Madeline Cummings has what the powerhouse team is preparing for going into playoffs.
In the midst of a record-breaking season, the Oswego Lakers women's lacrosse team is coming for a championship they haven't won since 1998. The Lakers currently stand undefeated in the SUNYAC Conference with a record of 9-0, finishing with the #1 seed.
We're entering SUNYACs this week, so obviously the most important week of the season. But yeah, we're 14-2. It's been a great season so far, and the players have worked super hard.
With their first place seeding, they end a 4-year streak held by the Cortland Red Dragons, who they defeated for the first time in their program's history earlier in the season.
It was exciting, very, I guess, nerve-wracking throughout the whole game, but you know, the team handled it really well.
In net for the game, Oswego goaltender Alana Akavisi has accumulated 67 saves so far this season, but she and her teammates say it wouldn't be possible without everyone on the field.
I'm just the goalie. I make some saves, but I have a great defense. They don't let a lot of shots off. I mean, there's 2 games I played in where I didn't even see any shots because my defense was just really locked in. So, I mean, I credit most of my saves to them because they get the attack on the right position where their shots aren't great, so I can make that save. So
it all comes down from like our goalie Alana and Ken's. We wouldn't be able to score the goals if we didn't have a great defense and a great transition through.
Going forward, the team is focusing on maintaining focus and doing better than last game.
I think we got our sights set on winning that title. We all want it really bad every day. You know, before every game we always think who wants it more. I think we want it more. We know we want it more. So we just want to go in there with the right mindset, play with confidence, composure.
Next week's game poses the question, will the Lakers finally earn the opportunity to take their shot at the SUNYAC championship, which they haven't won in over 25 years, or get taken out in the semifinals?
But, you know, next week is kind of like a blank slate. Like, you have to go in with a, you know, positive mindset, but also a confident mindset where, you know, we have to play our game and, you know, it's playoffs, so anything can really happen.
For OswegoNow, I'm Madeline Cummings.
The Oswego Lakers will be playing next Wednesday at the Laker Turf Stadium. The matchup will be against the winner of tomorrow's 1 p.m. game at the Red Dragons turf between the Oneonta Red Dragons and the Buffalo State Bengals. Moving to the Orange, big game in Syracuse this Saturday, April 26th, as the #1 seed for the ACC Men's Lacrosse Tournament will be decided in a showdown against Syracuse and University of North Carolina to wrap up the league's regular season schedule. Despite the Orange being 20-12 against the Tar Heels in their program history, the team seeks to get their first win against their rivals in their home turf of JMA since 2018. Game time will be at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That's all for my sports report. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Jaden. Tomorrow, Rice Creek is hosting its Arbor Day Festival and Tree Giveaway. The event is hosted by Rice Creek's Canal Forest Restoration Project to celebrate trees and the environment.
Some of the activities will include a guided nature walk, kayaking, and prizes that will be given away. The event will be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and is free and open to the public.
That's our report for tonight. Thank you for watching OswegoNow.
Have a great night, everyone.